Hello, and welcome to another Tel-Tron training video. In this video, we're going to discuss wireless supervision, how it works, and how to troubleshoot problems that you may see. What you're seeing here represents a wireless Tel-Tron system. You may have many wireless transmitters dispersed throughout your community's residential and common areas, and then several receivers as well. What is a wireless transmitter? WRCA and WECA pull stations, WRTA and WETA touchpads, WUTA universal transmitters, often used for door or smoke head monitoring, WCCA call cord stations, or stations with push-button bombardier cords, WMDA motion sensor transmitters, WDBA doorbells, and many more. Every one of these transmitters is supervised, and every one of these transmitters transmits that supervision at 312 MHz. So what is supervision? Well, every 4 hours, each wireless transmitter sends off a 1-second transmission that reports the status of that transmitter. It tells the system it's present and that it has a good battery. This transmission, or supervision pulse, is received by your wireless receivers strategically placed throughout your community. These receivers in turn send the supervision pulse back to the head-end equipment for processing. What is head-end equipment? Head-end equipment provides the features and abilities of your system, such as your HSCA emergency call server, the true brains of the operation, or your HWDA and HWNA, which provide various wireless capabilities, or your HPGA, which handles all of your paging. Normally your transmitters report in fine, and the head-end equipment processes everything silently and without incident. But if a wireless transmitter fails to send in its supervision signal, an alarm appears on your console. Depending on the age of your system, that alarm may appear as either a transmission fail or supervision trouble. Both alarms mean the exact same thing, and both alarms are resolved in the exact same way. Since there is usually more than one transmitter in a room, you can determine which one is reporting a problem by selecting the alarm using the buttons along the left and right of your display and reading the message in the center. You should see transmitter 4 and then the alarm type. That tells you which transmitter you need to troubleshoot. So why might a wireless transmitter fail to send a supervision pulse? Perhaps the transmitter has a low battery. If the battery is too low, the supervision pulse is too weak for receivers to hear. If the battery is too weak, expect to see a low battery report on your console that coincides with the transmitter having trouble. Eventually, that low battery becomes a transmission fail. If the battery is not replaced quickly enough, the wireless transmitter will eventually die altogether. It's also possible that you have a damaged transmitter that can't send a signal. Finally, check to make sure the battery hasn't been removed by accident. If the transmitter is dead, it simply can't supervise. It's also not entirely uncommon that a wireless transmitter has just been removed entirely. Perhaps the room has been recently renovated and painted. Often transmitters have their batteries removed so an alarm is not accidentally triggered during the renovation, or the transmitter is simply taken out of the room altogether. Make sure they get put back. Sometimes the wrong code is in programming. This creates two problems. First, the transmitter trying to report in is completely ignored. The system doesn't know who it is. Second, the system is presumably looking for another transmitter instead, which isn't present. This is where the supervision trouble comes in. Using your console, check your programming and make sure the codes of the transmitters hanging in the room match those of the transmitters in your programming. So, let's review. Step 1, find the transmitter reporting the problem. Step 2, replace the batteries in that transmitter. And Step 3, use your console to verify your programming is correct. After all that, if you've still got questions, feel free to contact us at support@tel-tron.com.